and welcome to the channel of Life and More viewers. Today we are in conversation with journalist and author Akshaya Mukul, whose remarkable book Gita Press and the Making of Hindu India has opened up a crucial but often overlooked chapter in the modern Indian history. It is a deeply researched story about a publishing house, the Gita Press, that began in Gorakhpur in 1923 and went on to become one of the most influential forces in shaping Hindu religious thought and identity in the 20th century. Through the lens of Gita Press, Akshay's book explores how print, culture, faith, and politics intertwine to shape the idea of what we now call the Hindu India. Welcome, Akshay.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
It's a pleasure to have you. So let's start in the beginning. What first drew you to Gita as a subject?
Uh,
Why did you want to
uh,
write a book on Gita Press?
Gita Press. Actually,
Yeah.
see what happens if you're growing up in North India. I mean, the Hindi heartland states, Bihar,
Mm,
UP, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh. You will find that Gita Press publications, in one way or the other, either the religious texts or its monthly called Kalyan, in
mhm,
every maybe every second or third home. So I was always very curious about where it's coming from, how is it so popular, and oh, other than this, I have also been very interested in the history of the print culture. How did it start? And then
mm,
once I got into it, I realized that the fact about Gita Press was very different from what one was told. Number one, it was not owned by one individual, but it was owned by a Marwadi trust. Marwadis ran it. Didn't belong to one person, and
mm,
it ran on a no profit, no loss basis. And its larger idea was to take Hinduism or a version of Hinduism, a very obscurantist, traditional Sanatan Hindu dharma to ordinary Hindu homes.
mm,
And once I got into it deeper, I realized that okay, it also had a larger political goal because it started in the first quarter of 20th century when the comparative communalism was at its peak, and slowly it unraveled. It became, along with few other Hindu organizations like RSS and Hindu Mahasabha, so they were all playing tandem. There was a large choreography happening. So yeah, that's how I got
mm,
interested, and I realized its job was more than to just publish texts. Yeah.
mm. What was its
Yeah.
job? What did you realize?
I realized that well, it had its huge impact because it could reach any Hindu home. It had something for everyone. If
Mm,
you are like a woman in the family will see that okay, when I can do this, do fasting. What are the celestial positions for this fasting or that fasting? Like the Hindu calendar has these various things. You can fast on this Tuesday,
mm,
this Kartik, that Shravan, all those things. Number one, it had
mm,
great stories of bravery of men, women, children. So even for children, there was something that okay, if you want to do something in life, become like the Bir Balak,
mm,
Bir Balika. It had full of those stories. But amidst all this, there was a huge politics also, and that I could see once I
mm,
started looking into Kalyan, which was their monthly, which still runs, which
mm.
will be doing 100 years. Gita Press has done 100 years, but the Kalyan
Yeah.
will be completing 100 years next year in July or August because it started in August
Mm,
of 1926. So, and then I
mm,
realized, okay, it was a very very powerful tool to spread, to take Hinduism to ordinary Hindu homes, and also
mm,
become political. And before Gita Press,
mm,
and it started as a very well produced magazine. All the texts are very well produced, Ramayana, Gita, Mahabharata, whatever you can see. And we don't know how Lord Rama looked or Sita looked or Shiva looked. This is all come from the visual world, this whole iconography, which and it played a
mm,
big role. Gita Press played a big role, and had some of the best artists working for them. some of the best artists
mm,
working for them.
mm,
So there was something for everyone. And I realized that, and it was highly political. While it called itself, Kalyan called itself Bhakti Gyan or Vairagya Ka Masik, it also was
mm,
very political, where there was no Bhakti, no
mm,
Gyan, no Vairagya, except politics. Yeah.
mm.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So what kept you going through such a huge project, and like how much time did you actually take to do the research and complete the book cover to cover?
It took me almost 5 years, because their own archives is in Gorakhpur, and not even in Gita Press, because their founder editor Hanuman Prasad Poddar lived in another
Mm,
part of the city, which is called Gita Vatika. It's a huge thing, where his
mm,
all his private papers were there, and his private papers and Gita Press papers are the
mm,
same, because he's the one who started it. So you could see everything there. So that going through it took me a lot of time. Then you have to, in
mm,
archive, you also have the stories never complete with one archive. So you have to look at other
mm,
archives to join the dots. For which I looked into the
mm,
papers in National Archives, in Nehru Memorial Museum and Library, uh, and few other places in Banaras, in
mm,
Lucknow, where the UP State Archives is. In Banaras, the old booksellers and old libraries had a lot of material. So that's also, it took a lot of time. Yeah.
mm. So didn't
Yeah.
it did at any point of time you think that it is quite a lot to do and quite a lot of research and running around? Didn't you
Yeah.
feel like disheartened any time?
Yeah, you do all the
What
time.
kept
Actually,
you at it?
yeah, but you have to keep at it, because writing book, I realized. And see, I've been a journalist for 24 years, and in journalism,
Mhm.
you write something in the middle of night and early morning, it is there in the paper, and you're used to
Mhm.
so quick.
Yeah.
You just write something happened, you don't have time, you just write on it, and next morning you see it in print. So someone
Mhm.
with that training, do writing a book, so it teaches you patience. And a lot of people I really look up to, everyone said that, look,
Mhm.
writing book is a very different ball game from writing for newspapers. uh,
Mhm.
but being a newspaper writer, being a reporter, helps in the sense that we don't take too long to write. We can write 1,000 words a day, easily, because
Mhm.
we have that
Mhm.
training to write. So,
Mhm.
and we are
Mhm.
pretty shameless about our writing 1,000 words. I'm not talking about the quality of
Mhm.
those 1,000 words. It can be pretty bad and horrible for book. For newspaper, it goes, because it's the
Yeah.
timing which matters, it's the immediacy which matters.
Mhm.
But then I learned that it's going to be a long haul. And yeah, and one, as you asked, yeah, one does feel disheartened. At times one gets very kind of tired also, that, look, my God, is going for
Mhm.
on and on, and everyone starts asking you, oh, when will it come out, when will it come out? So yeah, but then I realized early on that this is a different ball game, and I'll have to keep at it slowly but
Mhm.
steadily. You have to keep doing it every day. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. So you've just spoken about like digging into the archives and personal papers of Mr. Podar. So was access to those papers and archives an easy thing? Did they welcome
Uh,
you?
no, in the sense they themselves didn't know the how valuable they were. And the unfortunate
Mm.
part is that most of those papers, I don't know for how long will they survive in Gorakhpur, because they have not
Okay.
been kept the way papers are kept in archives. There is a
Mm.
certain there's a whole science of
Mm.
keeping papers in archives,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're preserved. They are like, there's various ways in which it is done. Uh,
Mm.
so it was a little tough to get through those papers in Gorakhpur initially, but they were very kind, and then they showed me everything, whatever was there, and all the
Mm.
boxes. And National Archive and Tirmurti, these are like government institutions where you have to follow certain procedure and papers. You will be shown the papers. So it was not much of a task. But what happens with archive normally is that you spend days and days and you don't find anything, and suddenly there is one day when you find everything. So you have to keep at it. You have to just every day you have to go and look at it, papers, finish looking at the papers.
mm,
You cannot leave it midway,
mm,
or you cannot say that, look, I'm not finding anything, so I'm abandoning it. So yeah, archive teaches
mm,
you patience. Writing book teaches you patience. Yeah, yeah.
mm. So while doing all this process, was there any information you got that completely changed your uh, thought process about Gita Press?
Yes,
Did it change?
initially, yes, it did. In fact, let me tell you honestly, till I really started looking at the archives, I had very little clue that they were so political. I knew that they were political. There was a context in which they were coming. The first quarter of 20th
Mm,
century is when most of the communalism is at its peak. RSS has
mm,
come. Hindu Mahasabha is already there. So all and
mm,
there are like all these organizations are coming up, but I didn't know that Gita Press will be so political. So political. I still thought, okay, its job was to take Hinduism to ordinary homes. But then I realized, no,
mm.
it was more than that, and it played a very, very crucial role. And that was a big surprise. And once I realized that, then I saw only politics, nothing else. Yeah,
So
yeah.
did it somehow? I would say that it changed your viewpoint, but did it also make you biased against?
I see my thing with when you one of the things working with archives is, um, and and that's what I think most of the historians I think do, is that if you find something in archive, don't let it,
Mm,
don't use it even if it goes against what you thought will happen. So in case of even Gita Press, I have written that look at the contributors.
mm,
Premchand was writing. Premchand's larger,
mm,
and Premchand, and then I could see in the letters that Premchand is a very reluctant writer for Kalyan, right? So if it was the case, because Premchand is also a great mascot of the liberal progressive writers,
mm,
and he was writing, but he was not writing anything which was objection. He was writing on Lord, I think one of the god Nirala was writing. So had that been the case, I would have kind of said, okay, leave it. I don't want to show them
mm,
in poor light. Nirala or
mm,
Premchand or any of these writers. So everything is there. Some of the best Radhakrishnan wrote. Some of the best minds
mm,
of that generation wrote for
mm,
Gita Press, and I have given
mm,
in great detail. Uh, how the scholars from all over the world were writing for Gita Press, for Kalyan, and
mm.
cutting across. Even in Gandhi wrote. I have written about Gandhi's thing, that
Yeah, yeah.
Gandhi blessed them. Gandhi. So I kind of I try to cut out as much bias, a complete bias. Whatever people might say that, okay, this is a book. The usual. Nowadays we see things in
Mm,
binary, that, okay, if he's
mm,
writing this, then he is some left liberal,
yeah,
and this, that, the usual allegations. But
yeah.
thing is that nobody can say that I didn't write something which they did. A lot of people say that all the things that I found out about Gita Press, of people of different political persuasions writing, they
Mm,
didn't know
mm,
about it. That some of them were writing. So Gandhi, or anyone for that matter. So I pull across political
mm,
persuasions. So I was telling about Premchand, Gandhi,
mm,
Nirala,
mm,
many of the
mm,
scholars from abroad,
mm,
American professors and British professors, everyone wrote. And also which a lot of my friends, people who knew about Gita Press, didn't know that they started a magazine for a short time called Mahabharata. Because there's always been great deal of debate on the final on a good translation of Mahabharata, and they got some of the scholars to work on it, and they collaborated with Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute, and they brought out this
mm,
journal, which was very, very good journal on Mahabharata. So that side of Gita
mm,
Press also I wrote, but I the political side was one which was completely kind of surprised me, and the deep engagement with the politics of the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and subsequently
Hmm.
is also what I wrote. Yeah, yeah.
Huh. So, why do you think that so many people across different political affiliations and from India and abroad, from different professions also, they were writing for Gita? What was it? What was it that was attracting them towards Gita Press?
Uh, one was the editor himself. The editor Hanuman Prasad Poddar
Hmm.
had great skill on persuasion. He could write. He could persuade even his complete ideological opponent to write for Kalyan or. And he could get people who were like completely rabidly communal, like say someone like Karpatri Maharaj, also to write, and
Hmm.
could get Premchand. So it was more of the skill of the editor. And also
Hmm.
some of these people were writing on very, in a way you can say, on, say if you're asked to write on what does honesty mean in your life, okay, what
Hmm.
should a
Huh.
person be honest, anyone will write, okay.
Hmm.
And so they were also in a way very harmless topics. When it came to larger politics, he himself wrote.
Hmm.
Some of the close
Okay.
people wrote, but most of them, and he got a whole lot of people who wrote on very very obscurantist thing, the place of women in society, which they were very very obscurantist view on women, that women should not
Hmm.
work, women should only be inside the four walls of the house. There's the queen of the house, outside world is for men, inner world is for women. All those things some other people were writing. And also that, you know, the larger thing was that it was a unique experiment happening that time. This Gita Press,
Hmm.
1920s was the period, and the press technology was coming up in a big way, and it was a lot of journals were in the market, literary journals, political journals, and they were unique in the sense it was entirely devoted to Hinduism, or version of Hinduism, a very traditional obscurantist version of Hinduism, and a lot of people were writing. So, and many of them were even writing without realizing what the larger aim or goal of this magazine was. So
Okay.
yeah, so the host of factors work where all kinds of people wrote. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And given like in our country,
Mm.
religion can be like it's a very emotionally charged topic. So how did you
Yeah, it is.
ensure
It
that
is. It is.
you had to
It is.
balance your writing because Gita Press is whether we like it or not, it's majorly seen as a religious text only. It is connected with
Yeah, yeah, it
Hinduism.
is. It is
So how did
entirely. It
you
is entirely.
ensure?
Yeah, it is seen. Therefore,
Huh,
I ensured simply by writing number one, not on my head, but their own documents, their own archives,
mm,
their own papers,
mm,
so that nobody can say that,
mm,
oh, this I'm manufacturing this. No. And
mm,
every fact that I wrote, you can see in the book, is all footnoted. It's all cited that
mm,
where am I taking this from? And
mm,
99% of the stuff, 100% is taken from their own archives and archives of other
mm,
people. So nobody can dispute that a fact was created or manufactured, or so everything has been fact checked. So I ensured that, because
mm,
ultimately, who am I? I am, my job was to just, whatever conclusion I arrived at was on the basis of the archive evidence, which was mostly their own, not mine, not
mm,
someone else's, not their
mm,
political opponents. Hanuman Prasad Podar's
mm,
Gita Press's documents is what I relied on, and I wrote what I wrote.
mm,
Yeah,
mm, mm. So, like
yeah,
Gita Press is known for its affordable religious books, like you also talked about, and uh,
yeah.
and it is also like behind that it is a powerful ideological force. So what did you gather from all your research and while writing the book? What is actually Gita Press? It's a religious publisher, it's a reform movement, or it's a political outfit?
No, it's a revival movement. See, it comes from the
Hmm,
basic basic ideologically. It starts with something like, look, this starts in the first quarter of 20th century. Their basic
hmm,
belief is that India was a great nation. Bharat, as they call it, or Aryavrat, was a great place. It got
hmm,
started deteriorating first when the Mughals came, then the Christians, which is the Britishers, came. So our job is to go back to that ancient India. Uh, so so we should go back to that ancient India, and that's what. So it was not a revival. It was, I will not call a reform movement. It was more a revival movement.
hmm.
Go back to the ancient
Okay.
Hindu past. Forget the period
Hmm,
of Muslim rule and the Christian rule, which has destroyed us. Go back to the ancient past. Therefore, they're talking of everything, be it women, be it cows, be it everything like that. So that was the larger goal that Gita Press had, and this is the society,
hmm,
the deterioration in the society, the moral values, everything has happened because we have been so
hmm,
influenced by the outside world, be it Muslims or the Western
hmm,
world, the Britishers, whoever. So
hmm,
we have to keep out of that world. We have to go back to our roots. Sanatan
hmm.
Dharma, what was there.
Huh.
Therefore, keep talking of Sanatan Dharma. Yeah, yeah.
So what do you think about it? Is it, in your opinion, is it right or is it wrong?
Well, it's in the sense, the problem is when you are in a country,
Akshay,
you
you're again, अक्षय, आपका पिक्चर फिर फ्रोजन हो गया, स्टिल हो गया, and your voice is now trailing again. I can't hear you at all now.
yeah. I know. I again. Yeah. Now it's okay. Now it's okay. Now is it okay?
No, no.
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
You- I can get your. I can. It's hazy. Your picture is hazy. आप आई थिंक हॉटस्पॉट लगाइए ना आप. मे बी वाईफाई का सिग्नल आप जहाँ बैठे हो आ नहीं रहा प्रॉपर. योर पिक्चर इज स्टिल नाउ.
Yeah. Is it okay? Sorry, huh? Today only it is. I don't
पता
know
नहीं.
what happened
आई
today.
नो.
It works very well.
आई नो.
Uh,
Yeah, it
yeah,
works
I know.
good,
I know.
but I don't know
This
what
is
is
like
happening today.
really. Yeah, but now it's all right, huh?
Your picture is
Now is
not
it
fine.
okay?
It's
Huh? Is it
अभी still हो गया. Still हो गया फिर से.
still okay?
Hmm.
Is it okay now?
Huh. Yeah, yeah. Now
Okay.
it's okay.
So you were asking me
Hmm.
about whether it's good or bad, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, what how I look at it is, we are talking of
Mm,
20th century India. There is a whole
mm,
battle of modernity happening here. We have modern education
mm,
coming up. We have women in a very, very small way are stepping out of their homes. They are being sent to schools and colleges. And here we have a publishing house which talks of even sati. In early publications, they're talking of sati. They're
as a
even
good thing to
justifying
it.
sati. No, they're, yeah, as a good
Okay.
thing. They're even justifying caste system. They're saying if you are born as a Malech, if you then it is because of the misdeeds of the previous life. So what you should do is, you should do some good work in this life, so that in next life you are born as one of the upper caste. They trust,
Okay.
the Gita Press trust specifically says that people of lower caste
Mm,
cannot be member of it. They are opposed to temple entry for Dalits, and they have a big fight with Gandhi on this. They are opposed to
okay.
eating together of upper caste and a lower caste, or Dalits. So they are. Uh,
Okay.
so this revival means bringing back everything. The caste. The 20th century, when people have started talking, we have Ambedkar. They hated Ambedkar.
Mm,
They hated Ambedkar. They always called him Heen
mm,
Varna. They always called him Heen
okay.
Varna Ambedkar. So
Mm,
so I don't know what world were they bringing in, what world they wanted. So what happened with time? Of course, they can't talk about sati now because it's illegal. It's
mm,
patently illegal. You cannot
mm,
talk about it.
mm,
But some of the texts, whenever you have time, you read their monograph called Nari Dharm Prashnotri, or read about
mhm,
their pamphlet on women, or give it to any girl in the family, young girl or someone in the 30s and 40s. They talked at one point
mm,
about sati, and they
mm,
even just they said that what happens in sati, if you read it, it's in the
mm,
book, that women don't burn themselves, and they through
mm,
strange, they said some strange chemical reaction happens in women's body in grief when her husband dies, and that leads
mm,
to the burning of immolation of by women. So something bizarre. So those things were said, those things are written, they are still available. In fact, the text, the
mm,
monograph that I was telling you about, that's called
mm,
Stri Dharm Prashnotri. I said Nari Dharm
mm.
Prashnotri. No, it's called Stri Dharm Prashnotri. It was written in 1926. We are in 2025, almost 100 years, and that
100
text
years.
is still selling. And if you read it, I'm sure whatever one's persuasion might be, you cannot approve of it for what they say about women. So when they talked about going back to the roots, they also talked of becoming obscurantist, of doing these things. So it became
Mm,
problematic. So it is a problematic.
mm.
It's a very obscurantist version of Hinduism. Yeah.
So my question is, why would so many people associate with Gita Press if it was, if they were
Because they
advocating all
no
those things?
because there are always enough people who will believe in it. That see, that cannot be just because enough people are doing it, that doesn't mean it was justified. Not everyone was
No,
doing
but
it.
even,
And also, mind you, every reader of Kalyan was
hmm,
not a believer in this, because
hmm,
Kalyan became a vehicle to take Hinduism to ordinary homes. I'm not
hmm,
saying that all Hindus are like this. Not at all.
hmm,
Not at all.
hmm,
I might read
hmm,
about celestial positions. I might read about
hmm,
Beer Gatha. I might read about Beer Mahilaएं. But I might not allow. I might give my women in the family, wife, daughter, sister, all
hmm,
the freedom for education. So
hmm,
reading
hmm.
Kalyan doesn't mean automatically that I'm obscurantist. I'm reading it for various
No, no,
purposes.
yeah, but
Yeah.
as you said that almost all the leading people, whether they were progressive like Premchand or they were not, they were writing for
Yeah,
Gita
they
Press.
were
Why
writing,
would
but
they
yeah,
be?
that's what I said. Not those
Hmm.
who were writing again were not writing, number one, like Premchand was not writing any divisive or communal thing. And I told
Hmm.
you, the part of the reason was the great persuasive skill of Mr. Hanuman Prasad Podar. Many of them wrote,
Hmm.
चलो ये one time एक piece शिव भगवान पे लिख देते हैं. What can be
Ah.
harmless about then? That also does not mean they I don't think Gandhi was a supporter of them. That doesn't mean
Ah.
Gandhi, and they had a great fight with Gandhi on temple entry. So Gandhi wrote,
Hmm.
Gandhi wished them well. Gandhi treated Podar as almost like his own son, but that doesn't
Okay.
mean he agreed with what they were doing, because Podar started
Hmm.
argument with this great debate with Gandhi in 1932-33 about temple entry. He
Hmm.
said, how come now you believe in temple entry? At one point you did not. And Gandhi said, yes, but my views are constantly changing, I am constantly
Okay.
evolving, you are not.
Hmm.
So even if some of them wrote, that doesn't mean they believed in what Gita Press's
Hmm.
larger goal was. In the very
Hmm.
communal things that they wrote in the 1940s, things that they wrote about women, or things that they wrote about, Dalits. No, they might have
But
written, yeah.
yeah, but don't you think that all this gave more power to Gita Press?
Well, in a way, yes. In a way, see, it's also because it became successful for many reasons. One was its very model, where it was no profit, no loss. It had the backing of a very, very wealthy community of Marwadis, and it was, and we know Marwadis do a lot of philanthropy, and
Hmm.
Marwadis were also concerned, because and they played a big role in this larger Hindu nationalism thing by bankrolling some of this enterprise, Gorakshni Sabhas, this, that. So it became powerful also because the community which backed it, the community
Hmm.
believed in it. So, like for instance, see, one of the biggest and kind of benefactor was patron was Mr. Dalmia, Ramkrishna Dalmia, Mr. Ramnath Goenka of Indian Express. So
Okay.
all the big Marwadis were doing it. So it became successful also because of that. And mind you, at the same
Hmm.
time, there were a couple of employee strike in Gita Press because of
Okay.
not giving proper salary, not giving
Okay.
enough salary. So there is that other
Okay.
side also. They got involved,
Hmm.
their names came up even in, at least name of Podar and other founder Jayadayal Goenka during
Hmm.
Gandhi's assassination. So there was that side
Okay.
also. Yeah, so it happened,
Okay.
and so it became successful. But at what cost? At taking a very, and there is always enough people who are takers of that, and
Hmm.
that needed to
Hmm.
be challenged because it was going against the larger principles of modernity. They were doing everything which was
Or
very obscurantist.
humanity,
Yeah,
not even
so
modernity, but humanity. If they are talking
yeah,
about
they're talking
Satya
about
and
women, they're
doing
talking
it.
about all this. So yeah, but of
Hmm.
course there'll be enough takers. Of course, Marwadis
Hmm.
wanted certain worldview. Marwadis funded it, so they didn't have to bother about. And even now, employees are not very well paid in Gita Press. No, all because they said you are working for the larger God. The larger good of the religion. So in that name, they're not very well paid. You know, they're
Hmm.
not very well paid. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So in your research, do you think that Hanuman Prasad Podar and Jayadlal Goenka,
Hmm.
they were the people who had these casteist or anti-women, I should say, views
Well,
which
of course,
they
yeah,
stressed on?
and
Hmm.
they got people around them. So they were not the only two
Hmm.
people who were writing. There were larger
Hmm.
ecosystem in which people were writing. In fact, you won't believe they brought out a very thick Nari Ank. Every year, at the beginning of a year, they bring
Hmm.
out the annual issue, which is called, it can be on any one issue. So they brought out Nari Ank,
Okay.
I think, sometime in 1948. It
Hmm.
runs into thousands
Hmm.
of pages, more than 1,000 page. And it is still selling, by the way. And a lot of women wrote about in that issue of Kalyan, annual issue, and they wrote very obscurantist things. So, and it's not that women who were writing were opposing it. No. See, the greatest thing about Gita Press was they wanted to be the sole spokesperson of Hindus, of a certain kind of Hinduism, very obscurantist version of Hinduism. And there were enough people, men, women, who were writing. That again, so a lot of women were saying, हाँ मैं बीए पास हूँ लेकिन मैं घर में रहती हूँ. Like the
mm,
editor of Kalyan, when I was doing the book, I had gone to interview him,
mm,
and he introduced me to his daughter-in-law. He said, "Look at her; she's MA, और she's
mm.
still MAd, और इन्होंने इतनी पढ़ाई की है, लेकिन ये घर में रहती हैं, बच्चों को संभालती हैं." So that was their version. You need education to educate the child, not to step out of the house. You're getting the
No,
point. So yeah.
that can be your personal thing. You want to be at home or you want to go out and work.
Exactly,
It's very
exactly,
personal.
exactly, exactly. Yeah,
So,
I can be a doctor and I choose not to practice. I can be a lawyer, I can,
mm,
and not choose
you
to
can be
practice.
anybody. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Uh,
absolutely,
mm.
absolutely. It
Do,
cannot be
do,
imposed by the man in the family. It cannot be imposed by your father, husband, brother. That, oh, you are a woman. कितनी भी पढ़ाई कर ली,
so
आप घर
you
में
have to
बैठिए.
stay.
हाँ.
So do you think or do you feel that this thing is practiced in their families?
In some families, unfortunately, yes, and it also depends. I will not say that it's very common. Yeah, like someone asked me when the book came, that are you
Mm,
telling me that in Gorakhpur, where Gita Press is, women are not getting divorced? Women are not filing for divorce because they
mm,
believe in it? Well, that only proves the theory. Yes, of course they are. But answer me first, who are these people, lakhs of people, men, women included, who are reading this text? Someone somewhere is getting influenced. The very fact that such a
mm,
text has such a long life of almost 100 years, Nari Dharma Prashnotri, I'm
mm,
talking about, Stri Dharma
mm,
Prashnotri, sorry, uh, means someone is reading it. Someone, even if I'm not imbibing 100% of what that text says, I'm imbibing
mm,
10% of it. Like, for instance, the great fascination for male child. Okay, the
mm,
great Indian fascination to have a boy, right? अब
mm,
उस
mm,
बॉय माने टू हैव अ बॉय देयर इज अ होल रिचुअल कि सुबह उठ के काले भैंस को देखो या काले उसको देखो और इस तरफ से पूजा करो और द काइंड ऑफ रिलेशनशिप दैट अ मैन एंड अ वुमन कैन हैव व्हिच इज हस्बैंड एंड वाइफ रिलेशनशिप दे आर ट्राइंग टू रेगुलेट दैट आल्सो दैट what in a month, for how many days a man and women, husband and wife here, can sleep with each other. What are the larger rituals that she should follow? What they talk about widows are basically seen as a liability, because, and especially young widows, because they can end up having relationships. So relegate them. They cannot be part of your marriage. We do even now in large parts of India. We have that widows don't. They're pushed in a corner in the house. They are not
yeah,
considered, kind of,
human
जिसको
beings.
कहते हैं ना, हाँ, सकून में कि अब सकून है, शादियों में उनको दूर रखो या ये रखो. So these are still
Mm,
being practiced. We do know that
mm,
what happens with intercaste marriages in many parts of India. If a upper caste girl
mm,
or upper caste boy marries a low, so these are
mm,
all the worldview which has come not only from Gita Press. I'm not saying that there were many other such organizations. I will not entirely credit them with this, but it created an
mm.
ecosystem which continues, and that's where that's what worries me. Yeah.
Yeah. So 100 years later, are they still propagating these views?
Yes, yes.
Still?
Except for, say, they will not say anything about sati because it's illegal. But most of the other things, they don't have to
Mm,
keep saying it again and again. Their old text continues to be published. Nari, like Sri
mm,
Dharma Prashnotri, is still in circulation. It will beat
mm,
some of the best and biggest bestsellers that we know in the English world. Their
mm,
Nari Ank, their Go Ank, their Hindu Dharma Ank, Hindu sub. These are selling in lakhs and lakhs and lakhs. I'm not even talking about करोड़ों की संख्या में जो रामायण और महाभारत Those are texts you have sold. But I'm talking
mm,
about these things which kind of works on the larger society, which is addressed to women,
mm.
child, this. So these are the things which are still selling in lakhs, and they
Do
have
you
not. Huh, yeah.
do you think that like they're at one point on one side they are like publishing the good literature, Hindu literature, like Ramayana, Mahabharat, Gita, and all those things, and on the other side they have, like you said, Sri Dharma Prashnotri or whatever
Yeah, so
the
that's what. So they realize, therefore they're successful also because they realize what the community needs. So, and it's full of
no,
ironies also.
is it no, no, my I'm asking, do you think is this uh, publishing Ramayana, Gita, and Mahabharata
Hmm.
is the front face or in the garb of this thing they are doing this?
No, they're doing everything upfront. I cannot say that they're doing anything under the garb. Everything's in the open. It's a very transparent thing, but
Okay.
that I cannot say.
Mm,
They're doing it open.
mm,
See, and it's also full of contradictions. They talk of
mm,
protecting the caste system, okay, the
mm,
Chaturvarna
mm,
system, okay. At the same
mm,
time, they brought out the small Hanuman Chalisas, Gutka Ramayan. You know, if you're the different chapters, like if you want to only read Sundarkand, you will get only
mm,
Sundarkand from Gita Press. You
yeah.
know, those
Mm,
things. And
mm,
when they were selling, they were not asking your caste, whether you're a Brahmin or
mm,
you're a Sudra or anything. But look at the
mm,
irony here. So you are propagating Hinduism to everyone, but you don't want everyone to come to the temple. So it's
mm,
also full of contradictions. Now of course
mm,
they cannot say in 21st
mm,
century this is illegal to say that you cannot allow temple entry.
mm,
Temples are open to
mm,
everyone, although even now we
mm,
know that some temples have a huge problem with people entering, not entering. We keep hearing these stories. So they will not
mm,
say that, but the very fact that they took religion to everyone in terms by
mm,
taking the text, cheap text, very simple. Abhi bhi ek rupe, do rupe mein you will get Hanuman Chalisa. If I'm a poor man, if
right.
I'm a rickshaw puller, if I'm a domestic worker, if I'm inclined, I'll go and buy it. I can afford
Mm,
Hanuman Chalisa in 2 rupees or
mm,
Sundarkand in 2-3 rupees.
mm,
But at the same time I know that what my position in the larger scheme of things is if I'm a lower caste. So
mm,
that's how it works, and they
mm,
took religion, they took it very seriously. They propagated it to everywhere. That you have to give it to them.
mm,
Yeah. Yeah.
mm, mm. So, do you think that Gita Press, its current leadership, how is it?
Mhm.
How is that? Like
It's
100
it's
years
it's
down
a, it
from
works
the.
in a it works as a very well-oiled machine. It's run by a trust. Their headquarters in
Mm,
Calcutta, Gobind Bhavan, it is called,
mm,
and
mm,
only Marwadis and other people, upper caste people are there. Mostly Marwadis, and they had various other businesses earlier, which used
mm,
to fund Gita Press. Like they had a very good
mm,
cloth business. They had a very
mm,
good shoe business, not the leather shoe again. They had a very good
mm.
banaspati business. They even had a ashram. They have
Okay.
if ever you go to Rishikesh, there is a very
Mm,
big ashram called Swarg Ashram, which is run by them,
okay.
uh,
Okay.
and then Marwadis contribute. So it's a very
Mm.
well-oiled thing. Only people who have been there for many years have worked, are
Acha.
promoted.
Okay.
So it's not like your paper or my paper where new editor suddenly comes from somewhere.
No
No,
new.
it's yeah,
Hmm.
it's a very well-oiled. They know who should be the next editor. They will groom the person. They'll see whether he's ideologically committed or not. So it works as
So
a
there
very
are
it
no
works as
outsiders. There are
no,
no
no, no,
outsiders.
no, no, no
Hmm.
outsider, no outsider, no
And
outsider.
how did Gita Press respond to your book?
Of course, they were upset. Of course, they were upset. They're
Hmm.
very upset.
Hmm.
They're upset, and of course, one of the standard thing is that you say that there is a huge conspiracy, right?
Acha.
The
Okay.
book has been written under a grand left liberal conspiracy. So all those things were said. But it's okay when you're writing a book, when you're writing on such publishing house, these things will happen. So you have to just take it in your stride and move on. You cannot do anything because you cannot stop. It's as much their right to criticize as it's my right to write. So it's all right.
Mm. Okay, Gita Press also got Gandhi Peace Prize recently.
Yeah, they did.
And
Yeah, they
so,
did.
what's your view on that? Like
My
this
view
kind
is
of
that it's
recognition?
my view is that it's full of irony. It's a supreme irony. Gandhi would be turning in his grave
Mm,
in Rajghat because see, it's a fact that Gandhi was very fond of Gita Press. He was very fond of
mm,
Hanuman Prasad Podar. He blessed them. In fact, at one point, when Hanuman Prasad Podar wanted to join national movement, salt satyagraha
mm,
in Padrona in UP, Gandhi
mm.
said no. क्योंकि तुम बहुत धर्म का काम करो, तुम भगवान का काम कर रहे हो, करो. Or
Acha.
Gandhi indulged him. Gandhi had given him free access. But all that changed from 1932 onwards, once the temple entry movement started. And Gandhi and Podar got into big arguments, which is part of, you can see it, it's part of the
Mm,
record, it's all part of collected works of Gandhi. and
mm,
uh, and the start and the relations started getting bad, so much so that by 1948, then they started saying all kinds of things about Gandhi in the 1940s when there were communal riots in Noakhali and other places, because
mm,
Gandhi was going and trying to diffuse crisis in one place and the other. They were very,
mm,
very upset with Gandhi. So much so that when Gandhi is assassinated, these two people are also rounded up, not arrested, but a lot of people were apprehended after Gandhi's assassination. And
mm,
Sir Badridas Goenka, who was a big Marwadi industrialist, tried to
mm,
take help of G.D. Birla to tell them
mm.
to come help them get out of jail. And Birla said no, they were not doing Sanatan Dharma, they were doing Satan Dharma, you know. So this is
Okay.
all again a part of record. So
Mm,
it's a great, so it's an irony. They were doing everything that Gandhi was a constantly evolving person. Gandhi was constantly
mm,
evolving, whereas these people were stuck on the issue of caste, on interdining, temple
mm,
entry, on Hindu-Muslim question, everything. So it's a great
mm.
irony that is they're given for ahimsa. So it's also in a way to tell the world that look, whatever you might think we'll do what we do, we'll give it to Gita Press. You we don't care. So yeah, that's what I how see it. Yeah, yeah,
Okay. And
yeah.
how do readers take your book, like especially the
But
younger generation?
it did very well. It did very, very well.
Mm,
The book won almost all the non-fiction award in
mm,
2015-16, all the awards.
mm, mm,
Um, and it has gone on for 10 years now, so a new
mm,
anniversary edition has been brought. So
mm,
yeah, so its book has done well. I'm kind of happy.
mm.
And I didn't expect the book will survive, because although 10 years is nothing for a book, because we know book survives for hundreds of years. And
Ah,
so yeah, this is a very, very small step, but yeah, 10 years. So, and people
so
have
this
been kind of very kind. Yeah.
okay. So this reprint, have you like added certain more
Yeah, I
things,
have
or it
added a
is?
prologue. I have added a prologue.
Mm,
And there is a
okay.
prologue in the book. There is a new, I wrote around 1600, 1700 words, which my
Mm,
publisher wanted. Anyway, I was keen
mm,
to write that. So I wrote basically what has happened in the 10 years since the book came and how has it done.
mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm. So maybe
Yeah.
another 10 years, another reprint.
Let's see. Inshallah. Nobody
Uh,
knows. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And what would you want, a, a a reader who is neither here, neither left nor right,
It's book for
to
neither
take
left
away
nor
from your book?
right. Read it. Just
Mm,
read it cover to cover, and always books. You know, engage, talk about it, engage, discuss,
mm,
argue, contest. Why not? Let there be.
mm,
If you think the book has problems, write another book. Maybe a better book than
mm,
this book.
mm,
So that's how I see it. And so every time someone says, "Oh, some bad book has come," I said, "Okay, it's okay. It's a book.
mm,
At least nobody's killing each one, the other person. They have
mm,
written a book which you disagree with, so write a better book."
mm,
So that's
mm,
how I see it. A bad
mm,
book shouldn't be banned, or a bad book shouldn't make with killing the author or abusing him. Write a better book, engage,
mm.
argue,
No,
and move on. Yeah.
but there are no bad books either.
No, yeah,
It's
exactly. That's what
it's
I
a
say.
very
You know what?
subjective
What
thing.
I might find bad book, few others might find good
Uh,
book. You know.
fine,
So
good. Yeah, yeah.
any and if you disagree on it, uh,
Uh,
substantially, factually, ideologically, then write another book. Write another book.
mm,
There is always a space for another book. So write it.
mm,
So I
mm.
think, yeah,
Uh, One last question.
yeah.
Like you said that they are reprinting their, that is something very intriguing, that
Huh.
they are still reprinting their, that Istri Prashnotri,
Yeah, yeah,
Istri
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Prashnotri you
Yeah.
said.
You will get
But
it. You can order online. They have a very good website. Gita Press has one of the best online book sell. If you go to gitapress.org, you can order anything. It will come in 3 days flat. And or
I know
if
they
not,
are.
you can go to in Delhi, near Parliament, that Kendriya Sachivalaya metro station. They have a they have their own van there all the time. I've
No,
seen
they
it
have vans here everywhere. In our
everywhere.
society,
They have a
outside our
big
society, they
they
have
have
a
big
van.
store in Delhi railway station, New Delhi, on platform 16, platform 1, across India. So you can order
No,
online.
what
You
I'm
can get it.
asking you, no,
Hmm.
what I'm asking is,
Hmm.
are they not publishing new content considering the changed times?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Actually, even now, every issue of Kalyan, and I still get Kalyan in my house. Book
Hmm,
has done 10 years. For some reason, I took subscription. It keeps getting renewed every year, and it comes to my house.
hmm,
They still rely on old writings of Podar, Ram Sukhdas, Jayadayal Goenka, and other writers. There are new pieces also, but the leading writers, the old editor, they still, every issue of Kalyan has that. So you are right that very
hmm,
in the last 20, 30 years, maybe once they brought out one publication which was on, I think, Jansankhya or something, that also got published for some time now. So actually, not most of the publications are old publications which are getting reprinted. Yeah.
they are not. That means they are not changing with the times at all.
No,
Like
I
they
don't think,
could have
because I
brought
read
in
it every
a.
month, and I, yeah, nothing,
Hmm,
because those texts itself are so much in circulation, they're so much in demand, they just continue to do it. Yeah,
that's ironical.
yeah, that's ironical.
50%
Yeah,
of population is women, and if women are agreeing to
yeah, yeah,
whatever
I
they
know.
are writing,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that is something.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
So we are done with Gita now.
Yeah.
What are you
Okay.
currently busy with? Any
I'm
other book
working on
besides?
biography of Jayaprakash Narayan. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And uh, how do you, like, as a writer? How do you plan your work? Is there a specific place or time
I generally
that
see,
you
when
write?
you are researching all over the place, all over India, archives. I travel a
Mm,
lot for during research time, but mostly writing I do at home because I prefer peace at home. I can do whatever I want at home. And libraries, I have realized, for writing purpose, libraries are greatest
mm,
places. Man,
mm,
I completely owe my existence to libraries and archives. But for
mm,
writing,
mm,
just for the limited purpose of writing, I work out of home. Most otherwise, I'm in archives or libraries. Yeah,
mm. So
but I work out
also, do
of.
you think that you will maybe you can write about a critical piece on what Gita Press is not doing, or why is it not changing? Have you thought about
Well,
both
I
the women
can,
you
but I
mentioned?
have kind of moved on. See, it's also, all writers, filmmakers, many other people have this. One should not get obsessed with one idea. When I did a book on Gita Press, I wrote a prologue. One should move on and do new things because there's so many new things to
Okay.
do. Yeah, because then it becomes like almost you're trying to milk an idea as much as you can. So yeah, of course, there's huge many things can be written on Gita Press, and many people are working on Gita Press even now, and
Okay.
I'm sure many good works will come out of it. But yeah, I have kind of moved on because then I did a biography of Hindi writer Agge after that,
Mm.
and now I'm working on JP. So it's
So
kind of
you're
trying
full-time
to.
writer now. You're not
Yeah, I'm
doing
no, I'm
journalistic
no longer.
writing.
Yeah, no longer. I'm no longer working full time. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay, okay. And
yeah.
one
Okay.
last question.
Yeah.
What are your other, say, interests and hobbies? What do you do when you're not writing?
I'm into kind of what do I say now? Mostly I'm home. I'm writing. I'm like I do usual music. I'm heavily into music. I'm kind of
Okay,
uh yeah, music, reading. Even now, as much as I can, I try and read as much as I can, even within the writing. So yeah, mostly reading, music, and few other things. But
okay.
yeah, mostly yeah, these things.
And and would you like to give, say, what suggestion or advice would you like to give to an upcoming author?
Well, simple. I'm nobody to give, but just read, read, read. Reading is the only solution. If you don't read, you will not write. Read as much as you can. If you don't eat, you can't survive. You can't read, you cannot write. You know. So
Okay,
that's it. Yeah.
okay, okay, okay. So thank you so much, Akshay, for talking to
Not at
me.
all. It was a
And
pleasure. It was a pleasure.
it
Yeah.
it was a pleasure. It was a fascinating conversation. It was something I got to know about Gita Press, which I frankly didn't know.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for enlightening me also. And I
Yeah.
wish you all the best
Thank
for
you. Thank you. Thank you,
the book that
Rajkumari.
you're
Thank you.
working on and all your future projects. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Yeah.